Wow, good afternoon, and thank you for being so punctual. This is awesome. Kelly Nalavaya, representing District 1 of the Central Committee and District 1 as a resident. I'm going to start off with a quote, and I'm hoping the person that this relates to will take heed. I am a slow growth advocate and have been for 25 years. I detest dishonesty, corruption, and backroom deals at every level of government. I will work with my neighbors to preserve as much of the current open space in Dorado Hills as possible. John Heidel. Interesting enough, right after the election, we now know that within a year, there were talks with, let's call it what it is, Amazon, to start making deals on how to come to Dorado Hills. Some of these deals include mitigating traffic impact, perhaps tax incentives, their own special permit, high-speed person delegated just to them. Following that, we find out that in 2021, an NDA was entered with the county. So we don't really know exactly what kind of backdoor deals are going on with this agency. What we do know is that the board is grossly violating the basic premise of process. That process being the people and the Planning Commission. Measure E has been distorted, again, being told it was unconstitutional. I am going to submit for the record a copy of the court's ruling on Measure E, and you will see that only several items were struck, and that it is still a developer's responsibility to mitigate the traffic. Yet our county seems to want to pay for that also with the taxpayers' money to bring what is a highly misuse of zoning to Dorado Hills. I would ask you to think very carefully and cautiously of the litigation that you are looking to bring to this county, either by these good people, or perhaps it's Amazon you're worried about, or frontier developments. Perhaps deals have been made that we don't even know what situation we're in. What we do know is to demand that this board pull this case from a zoning administrator and put it where it belongs through the proper process, EIRs, and traffic mitigations that a project of this size and magnitude brings to Dorado Hills. Thank you.
You are.
Okay, great. First, I'd like to read this sign. My name is Robert Gordon. I'm from District 2. Protect our children, stop Amazon's mega warehouse from increasing cancer-causing pollution and asthma. So I'm going to break this down.
If I could ask you to speak in front of the microphone, that way we can
very happy
your
to.
voice. Thank you.
A mega warehouse is by definition a warehouse greater than 100,000 square feet. Now, this warehouse is going to be 4.8 million square feet. And I could not get my head around it with stacking up football fields or whatever, but I came up with an analogy. The Golden One Center is 779,000 square feet. So if you took 6 Golden One Centers and set them side by side, that's what's going to start on Latrobe Road. We're going to have that. That's how big it is. And so basically from a health thing, there's diesel is a horrible fuel for the environment. It produces 30% more carbon than does gasoline. So we're going to increase our CO2 production and we're going to increase our carbon monoxide production. And those are greenhouse gases. After that, you have nitrous oxide. Nitrous oxide is an ozone producer, which is really toxic to lung tissue as the levels increase. Ozone is great in the upper atmosphere, but it's not good on ground level. Ozone prevents plants from respiring. You know, plants breathe, you know, this is the farm belt. And so basically plants take in CO2 and they breathe out oxygen. And the pores on these plants don't work in high ozone concentration areas. Besides that, you have nitrous oxide, another ozone producer. Then you have sulfur oxide. And sulfur oxide is a compound that turns acidic in contact to moisture. And so we're going to have acid rain and we're going to change the ecology of our lakes and the pH of our lakes, which is going to devastate fish life in these areas. The reason we know this, the Los Angeles Times published a study and showed that the areas that they put their initial warehouses in, there were 300% increase in warehouses last year of these mega warehouses in Southern California. Is that, I'm done?
28 minutes to seconds.
Okay. I'm going to skip over that. So there's 40 carcinogens in diesel fuel that's burned. These are such small particle, most pollution you breathe in, you breathe out. This goes deep into your airways and it doesn't come out. And it's a carcinogen. So if you ever know Uncle Phil, who never smoked a cigarette in his life and got lung cancer, probably a toxin or a carcinogen from diesel. Okay.
Thank you for your comments. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Good
Good afternoon. How are you all today?
Good, thank you.
Good. My name is Chuck King. I'm the president of the Blackstone Homeowners Association and also of the Citizens in Support of El Dorado Hills Coalition. I know you guys have all heard all the speeches that have been given. I hope that you have looked at the petition online and read that carefully. That represents a whole lot of what our concerns are. And to date, we're coming up on 4,000 signatures in this last week. We've got a ton more support coming. And I just want to let you guys know that the traffic that is being proposed for Latrobe Road is not okay. The zoning inconsistencies, this is a research and development zoning area, and to try to say that we're going to put 1,280 trucks in and out of that place every day is not okay. The environmental impact report from 1982 that's been touched up but does not apply to a project this size, what you guys are doing with it is not okay. And to have a zoning administrator ruling on this thing when this should be going before everybody in this county, because without a doubt, this is the biggest project that this county has ever seen. It's not okay. You guys need to wake up and smell the coffee and listen to us. We're not going to get smaller. We're growing more and more every day. And if it doesn't get your attention, I promise you, all of us will be right here when the next time you guys go to election, and we'll take care of it then. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments.
My name is Marcus Worthington. I live in District 2 on Avanti Drive. My home will be 150 yards from the intersection where this is proposed to be built. My two children that are 1 and 2 will have to grow up under the diesel soot and the 24/7 lights and the noise, and I'll never be able to open my windows again. And I sit here and I wonder, why is it that we send you hundreds of emails, thousands of emails, calls, and you sit there and you do nothing? When you do have the authority to tell the planning commission that this is their jurisdiction, when you have the authority to call Karen Gardner before you and ask her why she ignored county ordinances, why she ignored county laws, and why she gave it to a planning, to a zoning administrator, when the county ordinance clearly say that buildings of this size go before the planning commission, but you haven't done that. You have the authority to say any building over a certain size in the county will stop work until we have determined that we understand what will be in the best interest of the citizens of this county, but you haven't done that. You sit there and you do nothing. You have the authority to say, okay, well, maybe there are projects elsewhere in the county that need to go forward. Anything south of Investment Boulevard, along Latrobe, no more building until we have determined that things are being done correctly in this county, that the rules are being followed, but yet you sit there and you do nothing. You have the authority to call up Vern Pearson and say, something doesn't smell right, Mr. District Attorney. Feels like maybe some greasy palms. Why is this not following the rules of order in our county? Why is this being fast-tracked, but yet you sit there and you do nothing? I'm left to wonder why that is. And I rack my brain. Why does this feel so familiar? Why is this something I've seen before? And as a 34-year-old kid growing up watching a lot of reruns, it hit me. This is the kind of thing that would happen in the Dukes of Hazzard. This is the kind of thing that Boss Hogg would do. He would destroy the way of life for his citizens of his community as a corrupt county commissioner for money. I'm going to deliver a warning in closing, because you were told that we're going to wait for the ballot box. The appetite in this county for a recall is there, and it is growing. And we are not going to wait for you to destroy our way of life, for you to make our homes unlivable. I am asking you to take action with the power that you have and not to sit there and do nothing.
My name is Chris Inslee. I'm a homeowner in District 2 and Blackstone in particular. I retired and moved to Blackstone in 2021. My entire career has been around logistics. I worked for Ingram Micro. Ingram Micro did large-scale business with Amazon out of Southern California and all over the United States. I've spent many months on site in very large distribution centers and fulfillment centers. A point of interest, Amazon had a large-scale multi-year contract with Ingram Micro. We did their business. It is absolutely the case that Amazon will be running this facility 24/7, 365. There are plenty of examples of case studies around the United States right now for Amazon buildings like the two being proposed. There's about 25 brand new facilities around the United States. Exact same design. These facilities will increase their shipping volume nearly 300% in Q4. So the numbers you're working with in terms of transportation impact reports are probably the lowest numbers of the year. You have to be very careful here because the number of trucks, the number of vehicles, possibly the number of employees is going to be much higher for 3 months out of the year. Super important. The two buildings, two designs basically. One's for small items, that's the 5-story building. I have multiple links to experiences in communities and the amount of shipping they did in Q4 just in 2022, which shows that they exceeded their own plans by nearly 300%. The other building design is for large items. It's basically a large 1-story building, but inside it, it actually has 2 decks in part of the building. And that building also exceeded their shipping goals by nearly the same percent. They have, when you add up the number of people involved inside these buildings, those numbers are also in that same range of nearly 300% for at least 3 months out of the year, 300% growth. So the point I'm trying to get to is the traffic study is very wrong, very, very wrong. The impact on our roads around our communities is going to be massive. You really need to understand that. I'll be glad to talk to any of you in detail anytime about it.
My name is Dennis Lowe, and I've lived in the EDH area for the last 3 years. Prior to moving to the EDH, I was living in San Jose in the Bay Area and was a planning commissioner for this for 8 years also. And during that time, I'd never seen an abuse of the planning process and approval from the Pioneer Project. The citizens of the EDH has a right of disclosure for projects of this community and especially of one this large. During my time as a planning commissioner, I approved projects with positive traffic mitigation reports from the city. Those projects were a total failure. We approved one corner with a Fry's, Home Depot, and another business, but on a freeway exit, and it was total gridlock. And since then, the Fry's is closed, so it does impact the business itself. My experience is that the traffic reports aren't worth the paper they're written on. The developer told us that the project was approved for 23,000 trips per day, and they were doing us a favor by only going up to 5,000. The citizens would have to pay for the road improvements, which is ridiculous. And I'll make this short. In conclusion, imagine your own home, your comfort, your safety, your peace and your quiet. Now imagine 5,000 vehicles traveling behind your house. Stop this project, deny this project, cancel this project. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms.
Good afternoon. My name is Kimberly. I live in the idyllic semi-rural Blackstone community. Last night at the community meeting of the firehouse, in response to comments about the NDA and the secrecy of Project Frontier, Supervisor Heidel stated that in the spirit of transparency, he has a fact sheet coming out soon. I'm looking forward to seeing this fact sheet. Perhaps it will have this fact. An investigative article in The Guardian published in December 2021 states, quote, "In addition to the secrecy behind the actual development, residents often end up helping subsidize the company," end quote. According to a database maintained by Good Jobs First, a nonprofit research organization, Amazon's national warehouse boom has been fueled in part by more than $3 billion in tax incentives since 2000. Is El Dorado County seeking to use taxpayer funds or any other type of revenue to subsidize any part of Project Frontier? I think we, the taxpayers, have a right to know what is being proposed by the county. Another question, is El Dorado County seeking to incentivize Amazon by giving a property tax break of any kind? When improvements are completed, when would the property become eligible for increased property tax value? When would Amazon be required to start paying property taxes on the increased assessed value of the improvements? I think many people in this entire county would like the answers to these questions. I'm also looking for another answer. Perhaps this fact sheet will have it. The justification for using an outdated environmental impact report, which does not evaluate the pollutants and other environmental issues of a fulfillment center on the scale of Project Frontier. With all due respect, the transparency I would like to see from our county officials is not going to be found in a fact sheet. No matter how you couch this project as conforming to the legal processes in place, I am not fooled. Sidestepping critical issues then acting as if decisions are out of your control because the process is not fooling anyone. The process you mentioned merely gives you legal cover to shove new building uses into old zoning definitions and to justify sacrificing the health of the members of our community in the name of economic development.
Good afternoon. My name is Richard Perrin. I'm representing folks from both districts 1 and 2. And part of the reason they can't be here is they have jobs, just like I do. I'm a commission salesperson and I'm giving up money to be here because I don't trust you guys. And so I spent hours making signs. These people spent hours making signs. I don't understand how an event of this magnitude, that's probably one of the largest things done in California, can go through a zoning commission. I would like it known for the record that you have on your wall 5 core values: collaboration, integrity, excellence of service, fiscal responsibility, and accountability. You guys have done none of that for your community. Your elected officials, like the one gentleman said, we ought to recall all of you right now. It would be the best thing we could do probably for this because you have none of our backs. And you're looking to put a facility in that's bigger than what's out at the airport, right? We would never put an airport on that land for the people. Everybody has money in their pockets that they worked hard for. Some of you live in the community, some of you don't. And you're trying to get all this money back in this giant project. But guess what? You're going to choke the golden goose that made El Dorado Hills what it is. All the hardworking citizens that commute, drive, and spend their money and buy houses and give property taxes. And we pay for that sunshine tax, right, to live in California. This goes further than all this. This goes to people leaving the state, going to Idaho because of projects like this and things that we can't control. And so I really ask you to stop and think about what you're doing, because this is something that is way beyond where we are at this point in time. And it's sad that everybody has to take the time and the effort of what we're doing to come down here and fight this, because it should never got to this level. Thank you.
Thank you.
Afternoon, Chairwoman Thomas. Good to see you as always. Board members, my name is Todd White and I have the pleasure of serving as the chairman of the Alberta County Republican Party. We have members from 3 of our Republican Women's clubs here today. So I thought since they told me to get my butt down here, I would follow their direction and do so. So over the last few months, we've been looking into the Amazon Project Frontier issue because it's a huge issue down in Dorado Hills and the Alberta County at large. Just for some things in the name of transparency, as Supervisor Heidel has said recently, the county made your board aware via a letter sent to DST Systems Incorporated by Tiffany Schmidt when she was a principal administrative analyst in October of 2017 that this project was most likely allowed or proposed by use of right via the general plan, and also stated that traffic impact mitigation fees for the project could be negotiated and or deferred, which I don't know. A lot of you have been around the county for a while. I know the general plan was something that we all fought hard for, and it barely passed in 2005. But if you dig deeper into the general plan via Measure E, one of the implementations to that measure, which was incorporated in the 2004 general plan, states all 2004 general plan traffic impact mitigation fees for all projects shall be paid at the building permit stage. So we have 2017. Tiffany Schmidt sends a letter. She's now the CEO. Supervisor Heidel knows about what's in this letter. Shiva Frenson, who's now the head of LAFCO, who was on the Board of Supervisors, knows the letter. So there was no transparency provided in 2017, 2018, 2019, 2020, and then we have an NDA agreement in 2021, which I'm sure is not even legal, but I'm not a lawyer. You can ask yours. So where is the transparency? We're waiting for that to take place. I don't think that this is legal. I don't think it follows our general plan, and I think it needs to be reviewed by your board. I'd like to thank George Turnbull and Brooke Lane for asking critical questions in regards to all county issues. Please don't let the bureaucrats run the Board of Supervisors. That's your job. So, and thank you for your time. Have a good day.
Thank you, Mr. White.
My name is Steve Simmons. I'm resident of District 2. I'm also on the board of directors for Blackstone. Moving here 5 years ago with my wife from Silicon Valley. Our goal was to reside in a community which was not engulfed in continuous traffic, congestion, and less than desirable lifestyle neighborhoods driven by the horrific pace of Silicon Valley economics. When I first heard about Project Frontier, I quickly focused on a report of over 2,000 semi-truck traffic each day driving in the area, specifically on Latrobe Road. In addition to the semi-truck traffic, I learned about the size of the proposed facility located adjacent to the Golden Foothill Parkway Business Park. This would also require a large number of forklifts also to be operating 24/7 to support the proposed business operations for this facility. By the way, a facility which is reported to be one of the largest 5 facilities in the nation. My concern, environmental impact caused by business operations and supporting functions of this business, AKA environmental impact. And no, I'm not a tree hugger. Action requested to the board require an independent full scope environmental impact report before moving forward. The existing EIR is outdated and does not take in fact the changes of EDH population and residents traffic, which has changed drastically in the last few years. I'm asking the board members if you have any idea of the number of schools and related businesses focused on children's services, education in the Golden Foothill Parkway Business Park. There are over 10 schools: John Adams Academy, Golden Hills School, Valley View Montessori, Marble Valley Academy, Rising Sun Montessori, Busy Bees Daycare, and others, and additional sports activity and businesses: jiu-jitsu, swim school, basketball shoot 360, baseball batting cages, and on and on and on. BOS members, do you have any children or grandchildren attending any one of these schools or related businesses?
within Golden Foothill Park, Business Park?
I do.
I do too. I cannot consciously sit by and do nothing to resolve this major issue to this overall plan. If you do not take action as requested, which should be your responsibility, any negative consequences which happen as an outcome of the decision will be entirely your responsibility. As elected public servants, you have an obligation to do what is right to make this a safe environment for our kids and our community. Please take action by initiating a new EIR. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Simmons.
Good afternoon, Sue Taylor. I could spend an hour, on all this stuff, but I'll try to make it quick. So first I want to talk about ranch marketing. I know that's going through really quickly. I appreciated the Planning Commission held it off to have more deliberations. I've been trying to talk to the ag people that are involved in this, and they kind of broke that off. So I wasn't able to do that. And I think there needs to be a dialogue because the ranchers and the farmers have not been involved in this regulation that's being placed upon them. And I do appreciate you're going to have a meeting on Thursday to kind of bring that up. And so I rewrote the ordinance. It took 2 months and actually did it. I have a cover letter to explain, and I was really hoping to have a dialogue with somebody in the county to have a discussion with this. And then, and what's scary about this policy is that you are putting infractions on farmers that are more strict than what's in the existing Title 130 for any other violations of building codes. And to put that into an ordinance that's meant to protect farmers is almost ludicrous. So I just ask that you reconsider this, look at the, like I said, I did a cover letter. My revisions, they just deal with the ranch marketing and not the winery, because the winery ordinance and those folks are a whole different industry. And then and then I just hope we can have a dialogue, and I'll give each of you a copy and hope you will look at it. And then as far as this for Frontier project, 2 weeks ago, I gave you the law that said why this has to go to the Planning Commission, and I haven't heard anything. I was hoping to see a change announced that it would be now going to the Planning Commission. But since I haven't heard anything, I looked up some more codes that are required by the county. And if you go to the development standards under research and development, it says standards that are modified in the plan basically have to go through section 130-52-040. And again, that is when you look at, and I reattached what I gave you last time, and I'm giving you this extra paper. And then if you go to that number, it shows that the Planning Commission is the one that decides on this type of project. So I'm going to give these to you to show you why these are in your laws, your codes. And, this is another fact sheet that I'm giving you so that you understand what the law is. And I hope that you abide by the law. And then, and regarding Measure E, Dorado Hills was a big force in voting for that. I think 3 supervisors ran on that. And I would ask that you actually implement that into the general plan. I've heard that Supervisor Heidel has been telling that was mostly ruled unconstitutional, which is not true. Most of it was retained in the, put into our general plan, which is law.
Hi, my name is Pam Smith, and I'm from District 1. So I'm kind of down a ways away from this, but it's still going to impact me, what's going to happen. I just want to say I moved here 14 years ago, and I moved here for a reason. My family chose us because we wanted a residential bedroom community. We never thought that we would have an industrial park moving in. And I don't know any of my neighbors that are happy about this. So who thinks this is really a great idea? I think those who will make financial gains. It's about the almighty dollar. That's who we're fighting. Yes, in El Dorado County, we need more money, a tax base, but this is going to change the tone of our community. And I think you, as representing us, need to help support and keep us in mind first. Amazon already makes millions and billions of dollars, so I don't really feel like contributing more money to them to sacrifice my neighborhood. The builder of this project is going to make a lot of money. And shall we assume there's no kickbacks that may facilitate this project, that somebody's going to get a kickback? I'm sorry, but these days, I'm leery of overreach of government, companies, and agencies telling me it's for my own benefit that they're making decisions on my behalf while ignoring the people's voice. So here we go again, having to fight. And in my view, there's no value to this project in my community. And if you want a tax base, find a different project. Find one the community can get behind. I just hope that you will listen to us, we the people. And, you know, even though a lot of people aren't here, I did talk to my neighbors and a lot of them could not come because they either had children or jobs to do. So don't think because this room isn't overpacked that we don't care as a community, because everybody's chatting about it and they're not happy. And I'm one of those. So I hope if we were animals like an owl or a fish, you probably would be going, hey, let's protect them. So I'm pretending that I'm an animal right now. Protect me.
Good afternoon.
Hello. My name's Debbie Munter, and I'm a resident of District 1 for about 10 years. Project Frontier just came across my radar about 2 weeks ago. Wow. It is the largest proposed project for the county ever, and it has a non-disclosure agreement associated with it. This colossal project is 6 times the size of Terminal B at Sacramento International Airport. You just think how freaking big that is. That's enormous. On Latrobe Road? Are you joking? So Latrobe Road, where it's planned, all that stuff has to drive smack in the middle of new homes, schools, town center. Hey, 4th of July happens there. Not anymore. So town center, retirement homes, there's a ton of them down there. The impact of such a project on our community will be huge and devastating to everybody south of Highway 50, which is not me, but it will still affect everybody on all sides of 50. First and foremost, this project must be heard by the 5-member planning commissioners after the required EIR reports, noise reports, pollution reports, an appropriate traffic impact study that's not done right after this country shuts down because of COVID. After those reports, then you got to give the people some time to digest it, understand it, and know what's going to be happening to their community. The zoning is all wrong. R&D is not heavy industry. And this is not going to be anything but heavy industry. Look at the crap that they have happening out at the airport. That's Amazon. And you want one even bigger than that? Right in our neighborhoods? This is making no sense to anybody. So the zoning is wrong. The dimensions are out of whack with our existing laws and rules set forth in the general plan and Measure E. As I said, this is the largest proposed project ever in El Dorado County. It's ludicrous that this county has sidestepped the planning commission. You guys have picked those 5 commissioners, and that was to give the people representation. You were elected to be stewards of this beautiful county. Please uphold your election promises.
Good afternoon.
Hi, good afternoon. I wasn't going to speak. My name is Tom Fox, but I was a former elected official down in the East Bay. So I know I've been in all your seats. I've read through hundreds and hundreds of documents preparing for meetings. I think the reaction that you're getting here is that there's no review, there's no transparency. So I think what I would challenge you to do is to put this to a vote, put it on your agenda, and decide whether the 5 of you want to put this over to the Planning Commission. Don't let the county council run you. Don't let the planning department run you. You are the people who are in charge. So I challenge you, put it on the agenda, have an up or down vote.
I just want to read one small thing that I just looked up. So I'll take no time at all. Selling on Amazon is huge in China. In fact, by our research that was done in March 13, 2023, Chinese sellers make up over 63% of all third-party sellers on Amazon. Isn't China taking away enough of our country without us putting in an Amazon that makes up over, Chinese sellers make up over 63% of all third-party sellers? Think about it.
Thank you.
So my name is Aaron Rantava. I am a citizen of El Dorado Hills, District 2. I am also a local business owner. I know a lot of other local business owners who I've been talking to about Project Frontier. In addition to myself and my wife being citizens, my son is here with me, spring break. He attends a school in the local business park as well, right adjacent to Project Frontier. And I'd like to share with you a few things that are in your rules about R&D. So R&D zoning is defined by the county as follows, right? R&D is research and development zone is intended to provide areas for the location of high technology, non-polluting manufacturing plants, research and development facilities, corporate and industrial offices, and support facilities in a rural campus-like setting, such as a business park environment. So what does that look like? We can go over to the business park right now and all of you can see it, right? It's campus-like settings, there's lawyers' offices, there's schools, there are gyms, there's all sorts of businesses, none of which look like heavy industrial, right? Heavy industrial has lots of trucks coming in and out. So before I was a business owner in El Dorado Hills, I worked for UPS for 10 years as a manager there, right? UPS, the largest logistics company in the United States. You know, Amazon is catching up on planes and trucks, but still UPS. So I can read through the plan and I know that everything there is watered down as much as they could get it through, right? The 1,250 trucks, that's the smallest you'll ever see maybe this year. It's going to grow next year. As mentioned earlier, there's peak season. So even if the baseline is, let's say this year, 2,000 trucks going down Latrobe, next year, peak season is going to be triple that, 6,000 trucks, easily between Black Friday and Christmas, right? There's reverse logistics as well. All the packages getting returned after Christmas. That peaks all through January. It's the business, the town center is already clogged up twice a day, right? It's going to get a lot worse when trucks are piling on, trying to get on and off the freeway on the one lane on either side, right? This is not a good spot for heavy industrial. It's far away from the freeway. It's far away from the airports. It's far from the Port of Oakland. It's a bad spot to have a heavy industrial zone.
I'm his son, so
We're glad you're here.
I follow the rules in my school. Why don't you follow the rules of your district? I want to play with my friends outside, but I can't if it's a wasteland of acid rain with the trucks and all the noise. I can't go to sleep with all the lights and the noise too. I want to play outside at my school, but if there's all that acid rain and stuff, it won't be good. I hope you guys take that into recommendation.
So, hello, Chair Thomas and Board of Supervisors. My name is Ellie Hope Pendley, and my husband Nick and I are just a few months new to El Dorado Hills in El Dorado County. During our California Forever Home search, I toured over 600 houses in over 40 cities in 8 different counties. My very patient husband toured over 80 houses before we found our California Forever Home in Blackstone. As empty nesters, we handpicked El Dorado Hills because of the quality of life, safety, open space, and the perfect balance of city life and country life. Let me share a little bit about how much we love El Dorado Hills. My husband is a seasoned firefighter paramedic who works for the Alameda County Fire Department and agreed and willing to commute to Dublin for work so he can come home to what we call serenity. I am a real estate agent in Danville, and living in El Dorado Hills
It has made me so happy that I'm still willing to drive to and from our California Forever home back to Danville 5 times a week to meet with clients. So what makes El Dorado Hills attractive to young home buyers that I've learned is a quality of life, schools, traffic ease of transporting their children to school, after school activities, and sporting practices. What I've also learned about what makes El Dorado Hills attractive to golden home buyers, as I call them, is also the quality of life, closeness to the medical services, and also their grandchildren who have moved up here during COVID. With this facility coming to our area, homes will flood the real estate market as young families in Blackstone may decide to move out, and homes will flood the real estate market as active adults in Heritage decide to move out of this area to preserve their health. Please research Trilogy, Somerset, and Shadow Lake active adult communities in the city of Brentwood in Northern California. They have lost more than half of their residents from transition of open space to industrial. Golf courses have closed, and the majority of those homeowners have decided to move to active adult communities such as Heritage in El Dorado Hills and Heritage Placer Vineyards in Roseville. I would like to invite you to think about your golden years. And if you believe that El Dorado Hills and El Dorado County is a place that you would like to enjoy your forever California home, I would like to also invite you to think about your parents and why they chose to either live in El Dorado County or why they chose not to live in El Dorado County. I would also like to invite you to think about the young families and if you believe that they will stay in El Dorado Hills or if they will be moving out and turning El Dorado Hills into Brentwood, California.
I live with my husband and 2 young daughters in Blackstone at the corner of Royal Oaks and Latrobe, directly across from the proposed development site. We are vehemently opposed to this project in its entirety and are extremely upset with how the county is handling this application. The zoning administrator is not the correct body to be handling this application. Project Frontier needs to be heard by the Planning Commission and be available for public comment and full vetting. The deception this project has utilized is horrifying. Using the conditional use permit process is absolutely absurd. The height of the building, while upsetting, is not the problem. The traffic impact report done in May of 2020 during the height of COVID lockdown is beyond deceptive. One semi-truck trip is equal to over 1,400 car trips, which equates to over 1.8 million car trips per day. Latrobe Road cannot handle that amount of wear and tear, no matter how much you'd want to expand it. And we as taxpayers would be stuck with the bill to fix the roads. The assessor's map that the developer used in its application packet is an old map from 2014 and does not show any houses on Avanti as they didn't exist then. That is ridiculously misleading, and it makes it look on paper like the project is further away from the homes than it actually is. Using an environmental impact report originally from 1982 and minutely updated in 2004 is again deceptive. Directly on that plot, there are 8 rare species, 14 threatened species, 21 endangered species. And yet the developer makes the ridiculous claim that it will have no significant impact on the environment and wildlife, and there will be no loss of wetland habitat. Yet that location is directly adjacent to Carson Creek Preserve, a federally protected preserve. There will be runoff and diesel particulate matter that will negatively affect the animals and wildlife throughout the county. The lot where this development is being proposed is inappropriate for this project. There are multiple neighborhoods and schools directly adjacent to this location, and we're hoping for a high school directly next to this location. R&D zoning is for non-polluting activities. Heavy industrial, per the county's own regulation, is unsuitable to be adjacent to residential districts. How does 1,280 plus semi-trucks dumping massive amounts of diesel particulate matter directly next to residential neighborhoods and schools fit in with the priority of healthy communities that you are here to protect? And that's what we expect from you. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Monica Thomas, and I'm a resident of District 2. In regards to the Frontier project on behalf of Amazon, I would like to bring your attention, as it seems perhaps you have forgotten, your own updated zoning policy as of August 2022. I won't read it in full because the gentleman before me hit all the high points. I just want to reiterate, research and development is intended to provide areas for the location of high technology, non-polluting manufacturing, campus-like settings such as a business park environment. For the record, we are not against this type of project, and in all honesty, have expected it. But by the county's own definition, this project clearly falls under the use and logistics of heavy industrial. That I do want to read a little more in detail. According to the El Dorado County zoning ordinance amended in August of 2022, the industrial heavy zone is applied to areas which may also be suitable for more intensive industrial use, including manufacturing, bulk handling, storage, warehousing, and trucking. The uses associated with the district are likely to generate significant levels of truck traffic, noise, pollution, vibration, dust, fumes, odors, poisons, pesticides, herbicides, or other hazardous materials, including fire or explosive hazards, or other undesirable conditions. A conditional use permit is required for uses having the potential to pose a safety hazard or produce particulate matter. Heavy industrial districts are unsuitable adjacent to residential districts and some commercial uses. Activity at heavy industrial sites consists predominantly of trucks rather than passenger vehicles. So based on our county's own definition of what Project Frontier will be bringing, it would be preposterous to even consider this particular location. It should be removed and rejected immediately. The space is absolutely unsuitable for this project. I appreciate your time and listening, and wanted to let you know I do have someone there on my behalf submitting copies to the board to be entered on the record.
Thank you, Monica.
Good afternoon, supervisors. Thank you very much. Lee Tannenbaum, grateful resident of El Dorado County. While I do not live in El Dorado Hills, I frequent El Dorado Hills quite often, and it's very disturbing to me thinking that if I'm going to see my doctor, dentist, vet, and some of the other services that I have to go, that I'm going to have to be fighting traffic from this project. The other piece to the traffic is that thus far, it seems that the county is going to ask taxpayers to pay for roads and improvements to those roads from all of the traffic that's being generated. I don't particularly think that's fair or equitable, particularly since the company coming in has multiple billions of dollars. My wife and I often go into El Dorado Hills to the town center for dinner. The idea of sitting outside and having a nice burger at Relish and having to smell the truck fumes is not something that we're looking forward to. And then I want to talk about the process. And this is the one that really bothers me more than anything else. As someone who had to spend the last 4 years of his life, me, going through a process to get a business license in this county, the idea that this board is allowing a mega company to come in and breeze through the process, get a zoning administrator, not using an outdated EIR. Is it all legal? Yes, it is. Is it ethical? It absolutely is not. And each and every one of you are bound by ethics to do the right thing for your constituents. This is not it. I really, really encourage you to take control of this and put it into a normal process that every other business in this county has to go through, and make it equitable and fair for everybody. Thank you.
My name is Suzanne Webb. I'm a resident that lives off Latrobe Road in El Dorado Hills. I just have a few comments. First and most importantly, my father died of a cancer at age 69 that was directly related to diesel exhaust fumes. Obviously, well, you can't see me, but I'm in my 60s now, so this was a while ago. But my family has filed a lawsuit because of this in the state where this occurred, because of the pollution from the diesel fumes. I also wanted to talk about the noise pollution, the light pollution in a rural community. And I want to know where the developers were when this was first incepted in 2017. Why were homeowners who purchased after 2017 not informed that this was a possibility? And I'd like to know who has the answers to these questions, because I purchased my home. It was built in 2018. I moved in 2019, and I certainly would never have done that had I known that this was an occurrence. And if developers knew about this too, then they should have to answer to this as well. Thank you. That's all I have.
For taking my comment. So my name is Catherine Frias, and I would like to start by stating that I oppose Project Frontier. I'm a resident of El Dorado Hills, specifically Avanti Drive, right in front of the proposed project site. While there are a litany of reasons about why I oppose this project, health, safety, environmental impacts, property values, traffic, etc., I want to highlight a few others, and I'll do my best to condense what others have already said. The EIR, why hasn't there been an updated one? Why is it appropriate to use one that doesn't correlate with the current landscape of the land and surrounding schools, homes, retirement communities, etc.? I guarantee an updated one would be vastly different. The traffic study that was done during COVID, when kids were not in school, people were working from home. How can you ethically go forward utilizing the study, knowing it is not accurate? Anyone traveling that road regularly knows, in the past month alone, there have been several accidents during the morning commute on Latrobe and Investment Boulevard, right near the project site. I guarantee this will increase should the project go through. I believe that another traffic study needs to be done during the school year as well to take into account Valley View, John Adams, and the many preschools in the area, along with the various Montessori ones as well. Why is this not going before the entire planning commission and being presented as other projects normally would? Why is there such a rush to pass this through? The lack of transparency and hush-hush attitude surrounding this is deeply concerning. I'd also like to discuss the emergency vehicle response times and the stretch of Latrobe as it is. At the initial project presentation, Mr. Heidel touted that there were only 7, I believe it was 7 Department of Transportation workers that are between El Dorado Hills and Pollock. Latrobe, amongst many other county roads, are neglected as is, or just given a Band-Aid with a slap of slurry and called good. How in the world is Latrobe going to handle that many more vehicles? Will that road widening be completed prior to the project beginning? It will not. Can each of you guarantee, without doubt, that emergency response vehicles can make it down Latrobe, whether it's to Blackstone or beyond, in the same time frame as they are now? Take a look at East Bidwell and Scott, where they've been widening that road for over a year. Tell me a fire truck could fit between 2 Amazon semis going in either direction at the same time. Thank goodness we've had rain this year, but tell me, if we have another horrendous fire season where our friends in Amador County need us, or other residents in El Dorado County further down Latrobe need us, that fire trucks could get there timely. Our tax dollars as residents go towards these resources, yet we'll have them jeopardized for what seems to be a very backdoor deal.
Okay, very good. So my name is Mark Stanley. I'm chairman of the Cool Pilot Hill Advisory Committee in District 4. I just wanted to share that it's clear that trust has been lost with our local government, and the system is pretty broken, and it's so much broken that people are actually accusing you guys of taking bribes and kickbacks, which we know isn't true. But the question is how do we get trust back in the system? For me, I understand your role is to pick what is the best options as you guys as a board feel it is for the community. But there's a point where the community becomes organized and well enough to say what it is that they value and what it is that's important for them. When that happens, that local community gets organized as they are now, and they're speaking to you, but they feel like their back's against the wall because they don't have any options. In Placer County right now has 15 local planning overlays for the local communities that were created by the residents who live there. San Diego, as an example, has 62 for their local area. Recently, Placer County adopted an emergency ordinance stopping all building and development so that the local community could put their overlay as to what types of businesses that they wanted in their local area. Of course, that would have to comply with the elements, the 8 elements state law for the general plan, but the other counties surrounding us are allowing the local communities to choose their future. In a more organized way, I would like to present to you that at least from our cool Pilot Hill, we have an organized community, and we're doing an overlay right now that we're going to present to you within the next few months. I would suggest that to regain trust of the people who you're trying to do your best to represent, allow these local communities to form their own advisory committees to develop plans for what they want to see within their local community. It's something that several other counties have adopted and is working very effectively for them. Thank you for your time.
Hello, I'm here. Can you hear me?
We sure can. Go right ahead. Thank
Okay.
you.
Good afternoon. My name, pardon me, is Aloha Adams. I'm a native and a resident of Cool. I'm also the vice chair of the Cool Pilot Hill Advisory Committee. And I support everything that Mark just said just before me. I'm angry at the county. I was angry last Thursday when we had a meeting with Mr. Hickenbotham, and I'm still angry. I'm here to share several issues. The first is your e-tracket system. It's beyond me to understand why a member of the public must create an account in order to access public documents. It certainly doesn't appear to be user-friendly. It isn't user-friendly, and it does not allow for transparency. It appears from what I've been able to see, depending on who you are, depends on what kind of access you have. Does that mean that a contractor or developer has a higher level of access than the regular citizen such as I, trying to find out what is going on with a particular project? This system really makes me angry, as it doesn't appear, nor is it, to be user-friendly, and it lacks transparency. My next issue has to do with the Technical Advisory Committee meeting for the gas station and convenience store project proposed in Cool. Mr. Ocelaj, the planner for this project, informed us that we were prohibited from attending the meeting as he thought that CPAC, Cool Pilot Hill Advisory Committee, was a body appointed by the county. We are not. CPAC board members are not appointed by the Board of Supervisors, never has been since its beginning back in the 80s. We are a standalone organization developed to provide feedback to the Board of Supervisors about issues in Cool and Pilot Hill. Our supervisor did not support us when we questioned not being able to participate in the TAC meeting, even though I spoke with her about this 3 or 4 years ago when we were reorganizing. The members of the community have many questions and concerns about the proposed gas station, convenience store, visitor center, and drive-through food service. We already have a gas station, and we also have a convenience store, which, lest you have forgotten, you gave us. Thank you. What is a visitor center? And we don't need a drive-through food service.
I'll be honest, me and my wife and children just moved here from London.
Welcome.
Yeah, thanks. When we bought this house, I wouldn't have imagined that Heathrow Terminal 4 was going in 1,000 yards from my house. I have to admit, I'm very baffled as to how we have gotten this far with this much negativity. I'm a software engineer, so I am the exact person who would work at said location. And it honestly baffles me that R&D can become heavy in industry without much thought from the community. I'll yield the rest of my time. I'm pretty upset, and like my faith in you guys could not be lower. So have a good day.
Good afternoon. We can hear you.
Thank you. I want to thank my fellow county residents for bringing forth their problems with the Project Frontier. But the person who spoke first within the boardroom nailed Mr. Hydall, because Mr. Hydall brought this up a couple meetings ago. It may have been in the to and froms, but he was talking about the loss of sales tax from retail storefronts. And then he said, but don't worry, wait, there's going to be some news on getting money, from those internet people. Because when COVID happened, and entities like the Board of Supervisors, forgive me, I'm not speaking to you, Supervisor Lane, you weren't there. But the four others of you made great gains in destroying our small business engine, not just in this county, but in the state and in the country. And what did you do that in exchange for? In exchange for transferring wealth to giant companies like Amazon. And I am so proud of the people over there for standing up for this, and the whole rest of the county has your back. You know why? Because if it can happen to you, it can happen to any of us. And it's already happened to all of us. We need each other. And what we need, where I live up the mountain, is we need for our Board of Supervisors to stop supporting the cloud seeding projects and the massive toxic climate geoengineering programs that are being plastered all over us. We've had, 14, 15 atmospheric rivers. We're out shoveling, trying to save our lives. And what do we hear? We hear the rockets flying, where they've put all these rocket towers on the mountain, and people have their non-disclosure agreements from all the water companies, but we all know where they are, and we know where it's happening. And you could stand and watch the cloud seeding shooting into the giant storms that are coming in to get more precipitation out of atmospheric rivers. Did we ever have a conversation about that? No, not. Neither city and neither the county has ever asked for the permission of the citizens. But what do we have, Board of Supervisors? We have an SMUD fund. How dare you? How dare you take $5 million from SMUD to take our staff, our equipment, and maintain and remove snow from Wrights Lake and Ice House Road for a period of 20 years and work for SMUD?
Hi, my name is Stephen Dowd. Can you hear me?
We sure can, Stephen. Thank you. Go right ahead.
Yes, I'm a 50-year resident of El Dorado County. I live here in Georgetown, California, and Lori Parlin is my supervisor. She's a great supervisor. Thank you, Lori, for doing such a great job. Keep up the good work. And the rest of you guys are doing a good job too. Thank you. On a calmer note, the atmospheric rivers have been hitting us for a long time. Like I said, I've been here 50 years, and I remember when there was no Highway 50, and Latrobe Road down there was a 2-lane road that went to a logging mill with hundreds and hundreds of logging trucks going in and out all day long, hundreds of them. I was a logger, and I was a log truck driver, and I was a heavy equipment hauler, transport driver. So I was down there a lot, and I delivered a lot of equipment down there. You do realize that Latrobe Road is an industrial area that was signified way back in the 70s, 80s, I don't know when, but as industrial. And that's like building a house at the end of an airport. You build a house down there, you're going to get industrial. So you got to live with it. One thing I've got to complain about is the roads. I know we got hammered really good this year with 3 feet of snow in Georgetown, and I got my hats off to the DOT snowplow drivers. They did a magnificent job clearing the roads in Georgetown. But now all the roads are chewed up and we're going to have massive repairs. I think the repair job is going to be intensive, and it starts all the way from the Auburn Bridge, Highway 49, 193, all the way to Coloma, up through Georgetown on 193 to Placerville. Every single road is just deteriorating. It's horrible. So get to work, please. Thank you very much. Thanks, Lori. Bye.
Hey guys, I am so excited to see so many people standing up against this Amazon project. We're going to go through a brief civics lesson real quick. So the electors are us, the people, and the supervisors work for us. You guys are our representatives and serve us. You're supposed to act like public servants, not public serpents. The CAO, Tiffany Schmidt, department heads, they are hired by you guys. They work for you. So you can tell them, hey, Karen Garner, we don't want this in front of the administrator or an administrator. We would like this sent to the planning commission. That's how that works. So some of you are telling people, oh, I can't do anything. That's a lie. Stop lying. So the supervisors are here to represent the public, and there is great opposition to this project. So the only course correct that would be appropriate is to stop the project and to end NDA, which is disgusting. I'm not sure if it's legal. There are people looking into that. But for county public servants to sign a non-disclosure agreement and be doing things behind our backs is unethical. It's recall season, friends. And you guys have put yourselves in the position, all 5 of you at this point, to be recalled. And I think we have the momentum and the people that are ready to do it and the money. So there's your warning for that. Now, let's talk about what happened in 2017. A letter was sent by Tiffany Schmidt. She's sitting with you guys, the acting CAO. She was handpicked to sit in that seat by Don Ashton, who is retired and now has homes in Incline Village in Costa Rica. He checked out right when the fire started, didn't he? So we have Tiffany, who sent a letter on behalf of the county CAO's office. She was a principal administrator, a principal analyst at the time. Dear Mr. Kruger, we're pleased to notify you that El Dorado County has a greenfield site that meets the majority of Amazon's needs. We're going to skip down to what Tiffany offered these people, offered Amazon. Tiffany offered Amazon a designated executive and technician team, priority permit processing, one-stop shop for county permits and permit process assistant through the Community Development Services Ombudsman, deferred traffic impact mitigation fees, and access to health and human services agencies, El Dorado County Connections, one stop, which helps business owners find employees and enhance their business with services, including assistance with Cal Jobs, blah, blah, blah. So as you can see, starting in 2017, these backdoor deals were being made.
Hi, I'm Dawn Wolfson, Cameron Park. You might want to alert the media. I actually agree with Kelly, Todd, and Sue. Probably won't see it again in your lifetime. I lived in El Dorado Hills for almost 7 years, and my kids went to school there, and I worked in that business park. I lived on Monte Verde, literally facing Latrobe Road, and the traffic was horrendous then. I can't imagine what it would be like with this facility added. So I stand in solidarity with the citizens of El Dorado Hills who oppose this project. Amazon is not a good employer. There are multiple New York Times investigative pieces regarding how they've shorted workers' pay, how they've mistreated workers. They have high turnover, they have high injury rates, they're anti-union. We absolutely do need good quality jobs in this county. I don't think these are good quality jobs, and I oppose this project. Thank you.
Hi, this is Yolanda Gilbride. I'm a wife of a disabled Marine vet.
and my background's in risk and global insurability. 1 out of 5 Amazon workers are injured quarterly. The risk factor of being employed by Amazon is at high risk. Also, I'd like to add that semi-trucks also cause massive accidents with Amazon, but the recorded amount is not attainable because most of their trailers are owned, but the actual rigs are not owned. They basically subside other companies to take their loads and contract them and set guidelines for them to get items from one place to another. I live in Serrano community. It's quite up the valley from the planned proposed project, Frontier Development. Although the Cross Creek waters flow in my community, I have indigenous heritage, and this also pushes me to oppose this colossal building that will affect our local ecosystem. It causes a lot of distress thinking that our hills are no longer going to look the way they do. I see this when I pull up this community and see the rows of Lego houses just come up all through the plains that once belonged to Folsom. I ask you guys not to let this become Folsom. I like the division of our community where we can see the animals in the hills. When I moved up here in 2016, I was so happy to see foxes, hawks, and many animals and grasslands coexisting with local homes. I invite you guys to just drive up there, look at a sunset or a sunrise. This spot has been basically all the rain that has come. It's become a blessing. Basically, it's all replenished the grassland, the habitation. It's naturally doing what it does. It's growing. I read that the planning report said that the water source was not going to impact much. Well, that's not true. The creeks run through that area. It's become a thriving oasis, especially to 2 new endangered species, the red-shouldered hawk and the red fox has migrated here. I just asked you guys to intervene and kind of visit the spot. Just don't look at things through the paper. Thanks very much, and happy spring break to all.
There we go. Okay, so I think everything's been said today. So people are already commenting. They feel like what they're saying is falling on deaf ears, and I'm here to tell you that are listening, what you're saying probably is mostly falling on deaf ears. So I am speaking to you, the public that's listening, not necessarily to the Board of Supervisors. Lori, George, this is your time to shine. These are a project like this is why you guys got involved with the Board of Supervisors. And I can't help but refer to my book, Behind the Green Mask, the Agenda 21. And as I was sitting here going through SACOG's blueprint that Wendy Thomas, your supervisor chairperson there, she's part of SACOG's Sacramento Area Council of Governments. As I'm going through her blueprint and writing down key words, you guys need to understand these key words. And when you hear them, you need to run like hell. Sustainable development, stakeholders, grants, smart growth, equitable, systemic racism. We talk about carbon credits. You guys are worried about the pollution. Well, the way that this is going to play out in the long term is that companies like Amazon will get those credits and you will be put on the bike trails that Wendy Thomas is pushing through her SACOG blueprint. More than 800 miles of trails are planned. So the carbon credits will be pushed towards Amazon, and you guys, us, the public, the bug eaters, we will suffer. So a lot of this is blind ignorance. I don't think Wendy Thomas or most of the board has the capacity to think this far in the future. But if you read through Rosa Corey's book, Behind the Green Mask, you will see all this was in the plan. As I read through those buzzwords, I got to page 23, where she talks about her neutralizing buzzwords. And these are the words that Wendy Thomas will use: livable, walkable, vibrant, bikeable, consensus, conversation, progressive, community, diversity. Oh, don't forget the Delphi technique. So the Delphi technique will basically do, let's get together and have some brainstorming sessions. Wendy loves those brainstorming sessions. And then she's going to convince you how good all this stuff is. All the stuff that SACOG has planned for you. All these things, sustainability, walking, biking trails, all those things. So Amazon will be key in this whole blueprint for your living. It's all here.
We sure can. Yes, go right ahead.
Yes, so I'm actually a resident of the Blackstone community in El Dorado Hills and a mother of a 2-month-old baby. So I'm actually right now looking at that spot where the facility is being planned, because it's like right next to my house. So what I wanted to say is that we moved to this area to start and raise a family, to be near nature, to be close to clean air, no noise and light pollution. And I mean, I actually had never even heard of the night sky ordinance until I came to El Dorado Hills. So all of this will come to an end if this project starts, right? So isn't that something that everyone who is living in this area has come to experience? So why is it that something of this scale, or even in general, something like a commercial building like this is even being planned in this spot? So I would like to say that I'm against the Project Frontier being placed here, and in general, any big facility being placed here, irrespective of whoever is going to be the tenant, it doesn't matter. So, and also it has recently come to notice that this is going to affect a lot of natural preserves, and not like the historical site of some really historical site. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I really didn't even know that it had artifacts from that many years ago. So that is something which shouldn't be disturbed, I think. And I mean, warehouses like these are supposed to be in industrial areas, and this is not an area like that. And even if you build roads, or even if you expand roads, it's not going to help because of the mere size of the project. And even, I mean, have you even exited Avanti Drive? When you exit Avanti Drive, there is like a road that comes like Latrobe Road. When you turn from before Avanti Drive, you can't even see beyond a few meters. So having such trucks come in, it's going to create a lot of accidents. Right? When we get onto Latrobe from Avanti Drive, it's really difficult to see beyond a few meters, and this is not something which is going to help us. So I think please think about it, and if you can, just stop it right now, or else it will be really difficult for us to live here. And the property taxes, I think what you're planning to expecting to get from this project, you're going to lose all of that in the houses, because there will be no property tax coming in from the homes here. So yeah, that's it from mine. Thank you.
Hi, this is Leo Bennett Koshan. I just want to thank all 5 of you for the services you provide and for listening to all of these impassioned comments for the last hour and 35 minutes. And I also want to thank your chair for how gracious she manages both time limits and applause. I just think it's commendable in a difficult situation. I'm asking a question which is a follow-up to an answer I believe I heard, checking my understanding, that your good governance workshop, which I've been urging you to have quite a few times, will be combined with your strategic plan. I urge you again to have just a good governance workshop as soon as possible. I think today is a great example. I second the framing that trust is broken and something needs to be done, and I think that's what good governance is for. In the short term, I certainly support having an agenda item where you can have a robust conversation from the many comments you've heard. It's my experience with these warehouses is with communities that probably have about a fourth of the median income in El Dorado Hills. And most of the time we have lost, even with all the community involvement, because these entities certainly understand their bottom lines. They do lots of research. They're looking for land they can develop relatively cheap, that's close to everything that's necessary for all of our internet habit buying. We should all be aware we contribute to this going on. And it may very well be accurate that they have figured out all your current rules and there's no way that you're going to stop it. I don't know. That's always been my experience. And I think it would be good if you were transparent, if your hands are truly tied, and have that robust conversation, a give and take, not just the listening you're doing so well today. I'm very concerned to hear about your public safety dispatchers. I still don't understand the relationship between the board and the sheriff. I always view you as a check and a balance, and I know there's many items in the budget that I would question the sheriff's department that would have allowed this situation never to occur. I hope you answer their questions and make a budget, an agenda item about this crisis. Thank you for taking my comments.
Good afternoon. My name is Hannah Goldsmith, and I am intensely opposed to Project Frontier. My husband and I moved to El Dorado Hills just this last summer, and we live on Avanti Drive right across the street from where Project Frontier is being proposed. We moved here from Sacramento to distance ourselves from truck pollution, traffic congestion, and to enjoy the scenic and peaceful nature of El Dorado Hills. I'm also expecting our first child in the fall and hope to raise him in a clean, safe, healthy area, free of the burdens of massive commercial industry like those that the project being proposed will cause. As has already been mentioned, this project is inappropriate for the zoning of this location. It lacks critical transparency and appropriate and thorough environmental and traffic reviews, and will cause extreme air pollution, environmental degradation, road congestion and damage, and a whole host of other problems, as you've heard. It is unacceptable that this project would be located right next to residential communities and schools. It is your purpose to represent the people of El Dorado Hills, and this means that you must critically review this project and consider the voices of the people you represent. And as far as I can tell, residents are wholly in opposition to this project. I very much appreciate your time, your attention, and the opportunity to provide input. Thank you.
Thank you, Hannah, and congratulations on your new son. Now taking public comment from Nicole Black.
Good afternoon. Can you hear me?
We sure can, Nicole. Go right ahead.
Hi, my name is Nicole Black. I own 2 homes north of Highway 50 and am a 20-year resident of El Dorado Hills. And I raised my 3 grown sons in this community. I love our community, and it's a very special county in which we live. I think we can all agree on that. We take pride in this beautiful area and have contributed to various works around the county and through volunteer work such as the Civil Air Patrol. I'm here to address my concerns about the handling of Project Frontier. I want to begin my remarks by quoting a very wise man, Mahatma Gandhi. And I quote, "The true measure of any society can be found in how it treats its most vulnerable members." And to bring his comment even closer to home, Vice President Humphrey similarly said, and I quote, "The moral test of government is how that government treats those who are in the dawn of life, the children, those who are in the twilight of life, the elderly, and those who are in the shadows of life, the sick, the needy, and the handicapped." I think this project would harm our children, our elderly, and the handicapped. It would actually create more handicaps, situations, and deaths. I ask our leaders today in this community and in this county, what is your moral compass? Why did you seek this leadership position, and how do you want to be remembered? What will be your legacy? I have numerous concerns about the project, but let me touch on just one. The application states there will be 1,250 trucks daily. Looking at similar, much smaller facilities, this number looks low. This would be the largest Amazon distribution facility in the entire world. So there are no comparators out there, and due diligence is required. These trucks will be emitting lethal particulates. We have several schools and a senior community, plus numerous homes and endangered wildlife adjacent to the proposed facility. Did you know that buildings this size actually create their own weather systems? This is not the right place for a facility of this type. I would recommend the supervisors look at San Francisco, who has placed an 18-month moratorium on these types of distribution facilities so that further analysis can be done to understand the long-term impact of these massive and monstrous facilities. Are the developers going to build another firehouse for when there is gridlock and there's no chance to stop the next Caldor fire? I am requesting that plan administrator decision be moved to the full planning commission, that there be an appropriate period of public review and comment, and that a decision be deferred for a minimum of 60 days. And that's at a minimum. Thank you for your time.
Hi, my name is Chelsea Cordova, and I'm a longtime resident of El Dorado County for the past 25 years. I also live right down the road in Latrobe in Ryan Ranch, where this proposed project is being implemented. I have 3 children who I am raising in El Dorado County who all go to school in the business park. I'm highly concerned about the fact how this is going to impact those who have not yet had the opportunity to grow up in the beautiful county that I was able to grow up in. The amount of impact that it's going to have environmentally, as well as, you know, just having my children in school day in and day out with where we live is great enough to make me want to move my house and pull my children out of the school that we go to there. And that is just, I am one voice out of many that I've talked to in my neighborhood and my community around us. So I'm very concerned also with the amount of traffic. Where I live on 10 acres, and we have had fire instances where they've rushed to put out fires really quickly so it didn't grow into something of a bigger issue. The fact that I don't feel secure in how quickly a response team could get to us with the amount of traffic coming in and out of that area would also greatly put us at risk. And we're already at risk with the situation with where we live and the drought season. And so I'm greatly against this project. I know we're all banding together, and I know you've been hearing that a lot, but I highly echo the comments before us, thinking that we do need to have this reviewed. But there does need to be a more opportune time for more people to get together and implement their comments around what is going on here. The home that we currently purchased was just purchased within the last 4 years, and it's not a home that we would have built or purchased if we knew that this is what we were going for. You know, I understand that the area is, you know, deemed a commercial area and industrial use, but we're going above and beyond here of what we're putting in there, and it is going to impact everything around us, including the wildlife and the children most specifically. So I'm highly against it, and I thank you for taking the time to hear us all out with it.
We sure can.
Hi, thank you for your time. My name is Melissa, and I'm a resident of District 2. And I will soon be opening a business in the business park, which I'm excited about. But after word of this came to my mind, the project worries me. I do thank you for having us. Just a quick story. I moved here to have a safer environment for my children and my family. We moved here for open space, rural lifestyle, safe streets, dark skies, and bright stars. We left the Bay Area to escape the riffraff of bureaucrats and politicians. I thought we were better off here, and at first it did seem that way, but if this project goes through, not only will it be a disaster to the entire county, but it also means that we, the people of El Dorado County, are not being represented. As elected officials, our board members should be representing its constituents. It shouldn't go the other way around, and they should be representing us and not their wallets or any other special interests. The lack of transparency and backdoor deals that I've heard today really concerns me. These are nothing but slippery slopes. So today it's the Amazon juggernaut, and tomorrow, what else will it bring? I can pretty much guarantee you that If you were to poll the entirety of El Dorado County, the vast majority of us would be against this project. No one wants more traffic, no one wants more pollution or noise, and whatever the said benefit is of this project, there will never be enough of those to outweigh the consequences. I don't think, I can pretty much guarantee you, it would not gain the support of its residents. And it's your job to represent us, the residents. And just to end that note, I imagine there's some kind of oath that elected officials take to say who they're representing, or some kind of moral code and ethic. I would love to hear today, or at some point, each and every elected official here to take that oath of office in front of God and all their constituents. Thank you for your time.
Okay. I live in Rescue and I've been home searching in the area. But now that search is on hold because I cannot in good faith move to this area any longer. My 6-year-old daughter was recently accepted into a school nearby, and now I have to decide if it's worth damaging her health. And that sounds super dramatic, but it's true. This project is extremely dangerous and toxic to the children in the area. My grandfather passed from lung cancer, so I cannot in good faith buy a home in this area. I cannot enroll my 6-year-old and my future kinder age child. I cannot put good faith and trust that this government is putting our community first and not the almighty dollar. As a mom of young children, I appreciate the convenience of Amazon, but just months ago, they closed down their Amazon Smile program, which supported small local nonprofits. Amazon chose to keep that money for themselves instead. They don't care about this town. They don't care about the health of our kids, and they don't have our best interests at heart when it comes to this project. But I hope you guys do, and I hope you can see how dangerous and extremely unwanted this project is. While I understand building is going to happen in this area, this project's just ridiculous. It's massive and so destructive. Please listen to the facts that have been presented today. Please do whatever needs to be done for this project to go away. It's just not wanted, and it just needs to go away. Thank you.